Sky News Studios in Melbourne, live. The Bolt Report. Now, Andrew Bolt.
Welcome to the show. Good to have your company, and boy, do we have a lot to talk about tonight. And let's go straight to the obvious, that speech. That speech yesterday by Senator Fraser Anning on immigration, saying that we should make sure most immigrants now come from Christian European backgrounds. Now, that had him damned by almost every politician.
I condemned the racist remarks of Senator Anning last night as soon as I heard of them, and I've condemned them already today.
There is no place in the parliament for these outdated and racist views.
And yet, you know, I sort of feel like you've got to weep for Australia. Weep that we cannot now debate our reckless immigration without fools on one side and showboaters on the other, all throwing grenades. And I ask, who is worse? Is it Senator Anning of the Katters Australia Party, who was told dangerous untruths in calling for a ban on Muslim immigration? Or is it the media pack and hypocritical politicians who falsely claim Anning yesterday called for a white Australia policy and is probably a Jew hater as well? Tell you what, it's a very close-run contest, but I'm going to give the prize to the media and the politicians. But, sorry, first to some breaking news. And excuse this interruption, but this is news that does suggest that Anning, for all his untruths, did at least try to address a real problem that it worries a lot of people. Is our immigration program making us less safe and less united? News item number one. Police yesterday raided the property, again, of a Middle Eastern family in Melbourne and allegedly seized ammunition. News item number two. The ABC reports fire bombings have hit Melbourne's suburbs, torching properties of a significant organised crime figure who spends much of his time in the Middle East. And these fire bombings come after a rival Lebanese family were subject to a grenade attack. A grenade attack in a Lebanese war in Melbourne? News item number three. The Herald Sun reports that Melbourne police allegedly found an AK-47 in the home of a teenager of African appearance, a week after another AK-47 was found when police raided alleged members of an ethnic teenage gang accused of home invasions. African youths with, allegedly, military weaponry? News item number four. A Muslim immigrant from the Sudan has been arrested in London on suspicion of terrorism after he ran down cyclists near Parliament. News item number five, and the last one. In Sweden, around 100 cars were burned on Monday in what police said seemed coordinated attacks in several cities. The first four occurring within a few minutes of each other, with witnesses blaming dark-haired youths, a common euphemism for immigrants. I should say, though, that police have not yet said whether those responsible are immigrants, even though it's arrested too. Now, back to Senator Fraser Anning. Let me show you first some of what he said in his maiden speech on Tuesday.
In the 1960s, both Liberal and Labor parties reflected a common framework of Judeo-Christian values. We as a nation are entitled to insist that those who are allowed to come here predominantly reflect the historic European Christian composition of Australian society and embrace our language, culture and values.
Note there, Anning said immigrants should come predominantly from European Christian countries, not exclusively. And Anning never said he wanted a white Australia. That's an invention. And he was talking not of race, but of culture. But he did want a total ban on Muslim immigration.
The record of Muslims who have already come to this country in terms of rates of crime, welfare dependency and terrorism are the worst of any migrant.
Now that there was extreme enough. I mean, a total ban on all Muslims, even from, say, Malaysia, as I say, extreme enough. Yet it seemed that weeping politicians today were more interested in damning Anning for this.
The final solution to the immigration problem, of course, is a popular vote.
Now, Anning is a fool to use that phrase, final solution, which Nazis used for their genocide of the Jews. Yet he insists he meant no such association. And I have to say, his record of defending Israel suggests that he, if not his speechwriter, deserves the benefit of the doubt. But the Gotcha Brigade pounced on that phrase. People like Greens leader Richard Di Natale and Labor frontbencher Tony Burke.
To use the words final solution, to invoke the language the Nazis used during the Holocaust to then go and attack Muslims, it is beyond the pale. It's disgusting, it is vile.
He's decided to invoke the term final solution. The bigotry of today is no different to the bigotry of yesterday.
These hypocrites. You see, 2 months ago, Fraser Anning, smeared now as a Jew hater by these guys, in fact proposed the motion to move our embassy in Israel from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem, the historic capital of the Jews. That's something that Jews have been pleading for. And who voted against that? Yes, Labor and the Greens. As for Tony Burke, whose seat is more than 20% Muslim now, this Labor frontbencher once seemed to praise Islamist militants, terrorists perhaps, at a Palestinian fundraising dinner, saying, and I quote, "For those who are political advocates within Palestine itself, I will never know the bravery that comes with putting your life on the line and at risk in engaging in politics in different ways." What different ways could he possibly have meant? Shooty bang bangs? How dare such people now pose as defender of the Jews? And their real game, I suspect, it's to scare you off wondering whether Anning actually has a point about immigration and Islam. Now, none of this is to defend how Anning made that point. You see, there are enough challenges with Muslim immigration, which includes high welfarism, dangers of terrorism, imprisonment rates in Victoria and New South Wales 3 times the average. There's enough there to worry about without Anning inventing completely fake scares. Here are just some of the amazing falsehoods he's told. Anning was completely wrong to claim, for instance, that Melbourne Sudanese gangs are all Muslim. Most, in fact, come from Christian South Sudan. He was completely wrong to claim that the man accused of running down people in Melbourne's Burke Street Mall was Muslim. Completely false. But his most outrageous falsehood was this about Muslim immigrants.
And we'd bring in another 1,000. That means there's another 50 here that want to kill us.
Seriously? 1 in 20 Muslims want to kill us? If that were remotely true, they're sure not doing a good job. No, Fraser Anning just made up that dangerously inflammatory, highly offensive statistic to exaggerate the scare and the fear. Such nasty lies. Where do they get us? All that they do, apart from spreading more fear than is out there already, is to help Anning's critics to shout down this debate. Just look what's happening and weep.